Just to set the scene, speaking of bad jokes, last week someone came and said, as a comment, I was asked to quickly name 2 water containers. And I was like, well, damn. Yes. And welcome, everybody, to this week's AWS Africa Office Hours, where I catch the other people on the stream with bad jokes. So today we have got Richard and Isa with us, and you have met Isa before, so we'll have Richard introduce himself first.
So I guess for your audience, I would start by saying, let me see if I can get this right. So first of all, you're going to hear the accent. So it would be good morning, goeiemorgen, awe, heita, molo, sabona, dumela, bom dia for some of our more African exclusives, bonjour, and my personal favorite being South African, which is how's it? Yeah. So thank you for welcoming me and asking me to join. My name is Richard Wespinan, formerly South African, formerly from Cape Town, now living in London, based as part of the EMEA specialist TAM team. My focus is networking. So yeah, I've been with AWS for 4.5 years. I was a technical account manager previously for 4 years, been a specialist technical account manager for the last 6 months, mostly in lockdown, which has been pretty awesome, or like during the COVID pandemic, which has been pretty crazy. So yeah, cool. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Isa?
My name is Isa. Thank you for having me again. And yes, I'm part of the developer relation teams. I'm a developer advocate. And I've been at AWS 3.5 years, maybe a bit more than that. And I was actually with Richard in the TAM team in UK, where I'm still based in UK, even though for those of you who haven't met me yet, I'm actually Spanish, been living 10 years in Italy, so my accent is completely messed up.
Awesome. And for those who don't know me yet, I'm Chris Bernard, and I am a developer advocate like Isa is as well. I'm based out of Cape Town, so this is why I'm hosting the AWS Africa Office Hours. So what do we do here? Well, the idea behind this session is that we get our customers and people interested in AWS to ask us technical questions, or even some non-technical questions. We've had discussions around, hey, how does AWS do their 2 pizza teams? And then we end up having to discuss that, hey, it's not about the team size, it's about one set of people wanting pineapple, others it doesn't, because that's the real reason. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we sit here asking, and yes, this is a very informal show. We want to help you with any AWS questions, so please send technical questions our way. And to kick things off, I'm going to put Richard on the spot and ask him what interesting tech challenges or questions from customers that you have in the last week.
Well, so this last week's been quite interesting. I was actually on leave the week before. So in this last week, I'm one of 2 STAMs and networking globally, actually. So my colleague is Shorji in the States. He covers pretty much most of like America, kind of like I'd say Western Europe, America, and into Asian, like APAC. And then I pretty much cover from like APAC, the whole of EMEA, into kind of like East and North America as well, depending on, just time zones and things. Been working with a really interesting customer in actually out of Canada. So they are doing quite a lot of, they've got a big requirement for compliance. So, one of the things that they want to do is a lot of inspection and packet capture on instances in and out of a VPC. So they've actually been implementing a lot of traffic mirroring. So my role and my functionality as STAM and networking. So STAM is Specialist Technical Account Manager in networking. Let me just cover off my role very quickly, because that'll give you some context as to kind of like why I'm diving so deep into what I'm talking about. Okay, my stream just stopped, it's back, cool. So STAM and networking. So the TAM team, Technical Account Manager team, is part of AWS Enterprise Support. You probably know that. And Enterprise Support is the 4th and highest tier of AWS support that's available to customers. It's a paid for support version, and it doesn't necessarily just cover enterprises. It covers anything from startups right the way across to enterprises. So if I think about when I was a technical account manager, I used to look after anywhere between 3 and 6 customers. I actually looked after, at one stage, I was looking after a really large accounting firm out of Canary Wharf in London. So, obviously a really big enterprise. I looked after an incredibly small startup, one that was actually acquired by a leading tech company. They were at that stage a 50-person company, so they were a really small startup doing some incredible research and development stuff. I've looked after some really, really large retailers, not Amazon, but the likes and size of. And I've worked with publishers. I've helped companies in the motorsport industry. I've worked with organizations in partner environments. So I've had quite a big, broad spectrum of customer engagements across AWS, from really literally 50 size people organizations across into 10,000.
Awesome. I think that means we are going to direct all the questions to you today. So,
no way,
sounded like
no
it.
Way. So jumping into kind of the STAM role, I moved into the STAM role in networking, so specialist TAM and networking. So one of the focuses is that I come from a very heavy networking background, data centers, WANs, routing, switching, all of that sort of stuff. And there was a requirement to kind of get involved in a lot more of the area of depth specialization. So we have some big data, AI, ML people, we've got containers, we've got serverless, we've got people focused especially on operations. And I decided to jump into the networking, kind of having a really strong background in that. So what I do is I specifically help customers that have challenges around things like implementation, challenges around, they've gone and see a reInvent video, they've looked at the product docs, they want to implement a piece of networking technology, and now they're struggling and they're part of the enterprise support realm. So those are the type of things that come my way. So as I was saying, one of the customers that I was working with was a customer out of Canada. They do quite a lot of financial stuff. So they've got a big compliance requirement around basically just capturing all data to and from specific product instances. So they were looking at implementing some traffic mirroring, looking for some best practices, some guides, some troubleshooting things. What are the gotchas to focus on in those areas? So yeah, so that was pretty exciting. It's quite a new area that a lot of customers are now seeing in demand for. They do a lot of it on-prem, but in the cloud, it's really easy to start implementing these things pretty quickly now. So yeah, I was going to say dog or cat. Nice.
Oh.
Sorry, she's barking to get attention and come in. She's got a little basket here behind me.
Yeah, she's needy. Nice.
Awesome. So with all your deep networking knowledge, that means I can tell you my UDP joke.
Oh no. Oh, let's get ready.
I hope it's not another damn joke, as in a dad joke.
Oh.
Go for it. Oh, tell you my UDP. Oh, what? No, man, no, really, you didn't seriously. No, I was actually. Terrible.
Yes, it's terrible. Remember, I specialize in terrible jokes. So cool. We have got Darko hiding in the audience. So just out of interest, the people that are on the stream, where are joining us from? Because I know often we get people from outside of South Africa and also outside of Africa. So give us a shout out where you're from. So while we wait for that, your turn, Isa. What are the interesting things you've encountered question-wise the last week?
So this week I've been actually trying to build a demo to show how to build a data lake, which is more challenging than it could initially appear, or at least I might have been over-optimistic, because the challenge I had, and I was using lake formation, that automates a lot of the steps, so makes it super easy. But the challenge was a lot of these stages require a lot of time. So ingestion or doing the transformation from maybe if you're importing data from a database, or if you're transforming files from CSV to Parquet, or from row to a columnar, because we all know that it can help you improve performance and cost. But a lot of these steps can take a lot of time. We're talking maybe 20 minutes. And I thought it might be a bit odd to have people waiting. And now let's awkwardly look at each other for 20 minutes. Or starting and launching a demo that without any context exactly, I'm gonna sit here and just in silence look at the clock, at the progress bar. Mm-hmm. But the other option was, should I launch it without any context, and then do the session, and then when everybody has forgotten what we did at the very beginning, continue the demo. Like it was quite challenging. So I ended up just preparing the environment and just showing the steps that I had to do beforehand. And I have to say, I think it worked well. I ran the demo. I prepared it for the session that I had this week. I ran it, and I think it went quite well. But also because I was using like formation, so many of these steps explaining this is what I did was just like 2 clicks. So in reality, they just miss like you just miss looking at me click 2 things. So.
But I mean, that's one of the things that makes Lake Furniture so awesome is the fact that, because I also did some sessions earlier this year on data analytics, and it's like you go, this is how you set up the glue job with the connectors, with the database, and all of these different things. And over there, oh, by the way, did you have the right permission set, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And then I did a session on data lake, not data lake formation, a bit later, and I'm like, is this it? How come I spent like 2 hours prepping the other stuff, and now it's just like literally click, click. And the reason is just it sets that up. So when you give it, for example, the S3 bucket name, it knows how to generate the IAM policy for the glue job to be able to read and write to that bucket, etc. So I appreciate the pain and fun. It's super interesting playing with it.
Yeah, and the blueprints are amazing. If you look at the blueprints, I was doing one. I made it one step further. Instead of doing the normal like from S3 transformation to Parquet, I just migrated data from my SQL database. And it does absolutely everything. Like it does the ingestion to S3, partitioning the data. Like it creates the glue workflow. In this case, it's not just a job; it's a workflow with a number of jobs inside, and it does absolutely everything, including like error management. It's awesome. So it was, yeah. It's like, thank you. That makes it way easier.
Sounds like the demo gods were in your favor that day.
Actually, no. I found a bug. So.
Nice.
The demo itself, the demo was easy. I could like it was very easy to do once I had like the right sequence of events. But yeah.
So here's a fun question that I had that involves both of you now this last week. Database server sitting in Namibia, so it's a bordering country, and they are using DMS, which is data migration service, to replicate into the Cape Town region. And they were not using any of the T family instances for any of the underlying things. And what they would see is that high transfer rate, and then at some point it just suddenly drops. And this is from a data center, so we're not dealing with throttling on a corporate line or anything, or on a home line or anything like that. How would you start troubleshooting that? Because I was also like, well, try bigger instances, see if that makes a difference or not. But it wasn't instance burst networking kicking in either.
What was the source and the target again?
Source is a database server somewhere in Namibia, and
an on-premise database.
On-premise, and then bringing it into the Cape Town region.
Onto RDS.
Are they coming in? Sorry, are they coming via VPN or are they coming via Direct Connect?
I believe they were coming in via VPN.
Okay, so it sounds very similar to a case I had the other day that I was helping a customer with, or that I was looking at around. Also very similar thing, like they were just saying like DMS is really slow. It's still in progress because we're waiting on the customer to do a number of things, but the long and the short of that was it seemed to come down to challenges on the customer's database side, because so a couple of things you can do there. You can go, and obviously if you're coming in over VPN, then what you can do is you can check a couple of things like, check the VPN path, check the VPN latency, go do some like PMTU testing on the VPN link, check the latency, check the path, check the connection to the device. If you've got a device in a similar, if you can set up an instance in a similar kind of AZ or VPC, you can always go and do something like an iPerf test to test the throughput. So an iPerf test is especially for customers that are like first time into AWS and they want to start doing migrations and things. They're all like, hey, I've got a VPN. What can I expect? The very first thing I say to them is understand your instance sizing, understand your throughputs, and go and use something like an iPerf test to go and test your VPN link and see, get your understanding from the get-go of what you can expect across your throughput on your VPN. So that gives you a solid understanding. Hey, like we're only getting 500 megasecond across our VPN. Okay, well, your VPN should give you 1.2 gig, and if you've got a gig internet line, go talk to your ISP, go talk to someone else. You may be getting throttled somewhere on the path, or go maybe check the instance size. Maybe you've got an instance size that for some unknown reason is busy, or it's doing something else and it's not able to, get that traffic. So we don't specifically in the AWS network, we don't do any form of like traffic shaping or anything, right? If you've got a VPN connection into AWS and you've got an instance that will sustain 1.2 gig a second, you'll get the 1.2 gig a second, right? Like that's just the way we do things. So when customers have challenges, a lot of the time they're like, oh, I'm getting shaped. And it's like, okay, well, that's not on our side, right? You've got to check, and what a lot of customers don't realize is their networking team have seen things in the past that, hey, so another customer case very similar was like their database server was actually sending a ton of data, and it had been really naughty in the past, like a year before, where it had done a really big like backup at night and it had flooded the one link. So the networking team went and specifically throttled that IP address to like the backup location, but no one knew. So they kept on saying like, it's really weird when we do it to here, we're fine, but when we do it to there, like we just get really bad responses. And then eventually when they dug into it, they found out that the network guys are like, oh yeah, this was that box that did something a year ago, and they had a restriction in place. So I'm not saying it comes back to on-prem specifically, but definitely the first things that I would always say is go and check your VPN capabilities, understand the throughput you're going to get, and then from there you can start assessing kind of like if you're seeing normal priorities or not. And if you see fluctuations, definitely ups and downs, and you can always consistently get the link, then make sure that your box that is sending is able to constantly send what it is supposed to be doing.
From a data perspective. Yeah, from a data perspective, what I would say is it depends on the migration that you are doing. So DMS supports the ad hoc, the one-off migration of data, and it also supports the incremental migrations. But the thing that you need to consider is what is your database doing? If it's a database that is a production database and it's continuously used and you have like millions of transactions continuously happening, that is going to put a lot of load in DMS because it's going to need to synchronize it. For example, you're doing a continuous migration. An option could be just doing a one-off, maybe the big one. And DMS supports also Snowball. So you can use that to do the big chunk, let's say, and then do the differential with DMS. And DMS is very good. It handles all these stages, puts all together. So.
Yeah, I think the challenge is I don't believe we've got Snowball available in South Africa yet, last time I checked.
That is a good point. I haven't checked the services by region table.
Always a good one. We should probably link that.
Yeah, it's always a good call.
Cool. Let me see if I can get that quickly.
You wouldn't have Snowball Edge then, because Edge was also another use case that I don't know a customer that's done it, but I know that we've advertised one of the alternative ways of doing it is instead of just dumping data to Snowball. So the Snowball Edge has got the compute platform built into it. So it's actually got effectively a motherboard on a Snowball device that actually allows you to run servers on the Snowball. So one of the use cases was if you've got really big databases, but you want it specifically to remain in a Postgres format or something, what you could actually do is you could go and spin up a compute edge instance, so actually run a server on your Snowball Edge as like a portable server, basically ingest the data across into that in your exactly in a server running there, shut that down, send it to AWS, and then do the re-importation on the other side. So you're never actually kind of like dumping data and then re-importing. Yeah, so that was another way of doing it.
I've never seen that one. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it was mentioned on one of the podcasts I think I was listening to, or one of the use cases I was looking at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So we have got off. Yeah. So I pasted the link there to the regional table. The design's actually changed now. I see it no longer has the regions in columns. It just tells you these are the services in your region available, which is interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So a quick question here from, sorry, where did it go? Interesting. I can't say. Wait, there we go. Sorry, I misclicked. There we go. I was like confused about why can't I see Jabili's name there, which is The question is, how can I start learning infra as code with CloudFormation YAML, please? So for that, I am going to wait. I'm running the show, so I don't need to put money in the jar, which means I can say, come join Darko myself on Mondays and Fridays at 11 a.m. And for Richard, and I don't think Isabel's seen this before, we have a new prop.
Oh, what is that?
Oh, nice.
The self-promo jar. So how it works is that if you want to, on the show, put out a link or tell people about your YouTube channel, your Twitch channel, your webinars, whatever it was, it's like funk. But the caveat is you have to put 1 unit of your local currency in there. So I'm expecting £1 and £2 if you want to do it. And I'll put in £1.
Wait, just a question. Would that count?
£1.
What is that? How much is that? I don't know the conversion. I feel like
22 to 1. So it's like 5 pence, 4 pence.
Oh, I had a sense that I was going to be tricked.
I don't even know if I've got pens. Like seriously, I haven't seen. Sorry.
Yeah. So what's happening is we've got a Darko on the side. Actually, I'm going to try something. Darko, can you hop on the stream and come quickly do that self-promotion? Because I think that's the best way. Because Darko has actually done quite a lot of CloudFormation and a lot of CDK. And his recommendation there is do the CDK instead of CloudFormation is a very good one. The reason is that CDK is a lot more terse. It's in a programming language. You can pick Java, C#, Python, TypeScript, JavaScript, and I even believe F# when I looked once. And it also has a lot of patterns and things baked in. So while Darko appears.
Wow.
Do you have a song to promote the channel? Is this gonna be a song? Is this gonna be what kind of show are we expecting now?
We need a dance and a song and all the things, but we have nothing like that. Like nothing.
I'm going to suggest "I Need a Hero" by Bonnie Tyler.
So
I think people in the chat, help me here and vote for what do you want Darko and Cobus to sing.
As long as it's like the Bonnie Tyler hero and not like the Enrique Iglesias like hero. Seriously, like no disrespect to Enrique, but like wow.
We can softly whisper.
So yeah, do you want to talk about what the CDK actually is? Because you mentioned that the CDK, the Cloud Development Kit, like maybe there's something to just explain what that is. Because
So to jump into answer the question from Mr. J. Billy, if you want to learn CloudFormation and you have never done any infrastructure as code, do CDK or the AWS Cloud Development Kit. Why do I say that? Because it's very easy to get into YAML and JSON. It's not a language, it's a markup language. So it's, but it has a lot of limitations. It gives you a lot more, you need to introduce a lot more effort to do very simple things. So if you ever coded or programmed scripted in JavaScript, Python, Java, C#, F#, and coming soon Golang, it's much easier to get into CDK. And CDK in essence is a framework that lets you use generic programming languages to develop AWS infrastructure as code. In essence, it creates CloudFormation, right? So, but it abstracts all the things for you. So, my advice is do CDK because it will save you a lot of effort. That's my spiel. Now, is CDK better than CloudFormation? Yes. I'll stand by that.
Do we have do we have like demos or learning the code or like some snippets online that you can get into?
They do.
Well,
we do definitely.
So do you guys actually do that as part of your show? I wasn't aware of that. Okay, awesome.
We do that, but there's also this, CDKWorkshop.com. It's an official CDK workshop from AWS. It's the best way to get you started. But if you want to get more in details and more into the weeds of CDK and watch two bald guys read documentation while trying to figure out CDK, you can join our channel, which I think I pasted on the chat, but because you can't paste links, it doesn't work. So, but
cool, nice. So I mean, touching on that very quickly, like we see a lot of customers using things like obviously CloudFormation, but CloudFormation is where they've come from. There's obviously a lot of other languages and processes that you can use to help script things. There's a CDK. There's obviously Terraform's also quite a big one that customers use. But in terms of that, what we see is like specifically if I think about the accounting firm that I used to work with, that I used to help when I was a TAM in Canary Wharf in London. They went and built out massive environments for their customers, and everything was done through CloudFormation scripting. So basically, like, they had a process. Every time they bought on a new customer, they would need 3 accounts. They would need 3 VPCs per account. They'd need a whole lot of interconnectivity. They'd need shared services. They'd need things like antivirus servers. They'd need permissions. And that whole thing, the really cool thing there was that was all set up by CloudFormation. So it was literally plug in a customer name, change 2 or 3 variables, a couple of IP addresses, click play effectively. And in the back end, this thing just goes out and builds out this whole AWS environment in minutes for people to literally just log in and start using. So that's the really great thing about it. Yeah,
I've actually also seen that with a large customer. Don't want to name them, but they also, when a new region goes out, they are able to launch, obviously with the caveat of all the services that they need are there within 24 hours. It's a case of, and this is a few hundred different servers that they launch in multiple services and things. It's like they click it, they leave it, they come back a day later, boom, it's there. So there's a lot to be said for that level of automation.
And how many times did you get a question from customers, hey, how can I move all my resources from one account to another account? If you're not using infrastructure as code, it's going to be, you know, the good old mining and doing it manually and copying things and launching stuff. And so, no, I always advise people, even if you're going to launch a single autoscaling group, a single EC2 instance, a single web application on AWS, spend the extra effort to code it in one of the languages, one of the frameworks, doesn't matter which one. It will pay off in the long run because it's just a simple way to kind of migrate all those things to a different account. You know, you can do it if you did it properly. You can do it in 7 seconds, right? So,
yeah.
Do you use ever? This is gonna be. I'm gonna hide a little bit, but do you ever use the graphic management console? You maybe like to discover a new service, experiment, anything at all?
Yeah, absolutely. So if something is completely new, I definitely would go onto the web interface and trying to figure out what it is, you know, because unless I know what I'm going to try to launch and why would I do it, I don't do it. But now, like, for example, I was recording a webinar yesterday and I was trying to launch an autoscaling group through the console and I didn't know how to. I was like, how does one do this? And I forgot. Like, I did it so many times through CDK and through CloudFormation and all those things, but like, okay, I'm missing something. I need a launch configuration because CDK does that for me. So those kind of things. You kind of tend to forget, and that's a good thing because you'll click around to play. But I would like, if we're talking, you know, fully optimized accounts, I would never deploy anything unless I have to with my mouse. So let's call it that way.
ClickOps.
Yeah, exactly. GitOps. I mean, ideally, that would be the best thing if you can just get push your way through life. So,
yeah. So the thing is interesting. I also kind of go into the console every now and again, and the most fun there is if you've got a demo planned of some kind, and you know exactly how to do with infra as code. You go and need to show people now this is what it looks like in the console. You go like, this console looks different because we do roll out changes the whole time to the console, and it's caught me off guard once or twice. Like,
oh yeah,
I know what I'm looking for. Yeah. It's just not where it used to be. But yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, but so I mean, the console is kind of like the easiest route in to definitely being able to do things. But when you start getting into repetitive things, I mean, even, you know, the other day I was building 4 servers just because I was playing around with something and just having to do it through the console, like click, click, click. I was like, wow, seriously, man, I need to script this. This is just a hack. Yeah, totally.
I think it's very good for exploration, though. Like, services like Formation, it's not only that it's auto-explaining, it's the amount of additional information that you have around it. Like, if you go to the dashboard, for example, it tells you these are the stages to build. Like, you first want to set up your storage, you then want to ingest, and like you click and it takes you to the right section. So it's not just discovering the service. I think it's also good. It's also good to help you discover the steps to build whatever it is that you're trying to build, because it provides a little bit of additional guidance that maybe is not available through infrastructure as code. Like, you need to know what you're doing with infrastructure as code.
Yeah, the intuition totally. Like, especially on the networking side, you know, if you're connecting VPCs or you're connecting a transit gateway and things like that, there's the authorization piece, right? Like, you send the request and then you got to authorize it. Like a lot of the time, if you're not in the console, you would skip over that maybe in the code. You just kind of like, you wouldn't actually see it and realize that this is something that's waiting. Whereas on the console, at least you can see like, oh, hey, do you accept this? So yeah. And as you say, it's a great way to definitely learn. I mean, some of our customers still just use the console because it's what they know. And you know what, like, actually, unless you get very familiar with the CLI or you're using that command line side a lot, or you're automating, for automation, it's 100%. It makes it super, super simple and super easy. But, if your daily tasks are just a couple of things every day, then, I find that sometimes you don't need to leave the console. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, this comment by Connor is one of our regular viewers. We have regular viewers.
Yes.
And his comment is there, like he does that. And there's a Darko, you would know offhand. What is that open source project that records your console clicks and turns it into
console recorder?
So
it's made by the lovely gentleman behind Former 2. I always forget his name, but it's a plugin for Chrome. It's basically a Chrome extension that records all of your console movements and makes CloudFormation, Terraform, some CDK, and even API things from it. It doesn't. It's not magic. It seems like magic, but it's not. Doesn't do everything. So if you do record API calls, it's going to record all the describe calls and all the bunch of things. But if you wanted to do let's say create an autoscaling group and you know how to do it by hand, and you really need this, Ian McKay, yes, Ian is a gentleman, a scholar. So if you want to do something quick and you know how to do it through the console and you need a quick CloudFormation snippet, just record your session, bang, 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 and wha-bam, you're running good. So it's good. It's called Console Recorder. So Console Recorder, and it has also the derivative of that tool is called Former 2, basically CloudFormer 2, the thing that we never made. It's basically a thing that you can give permissions to your AWS account. It can scan your resources in your AWS account and create templates out of that. So that's also a thing. It works to an extent. It's not 100% sure. So don't expect for it to make a clean copy of everything you do or your entire infrastructure. But it's a really great way to get started.
So is that a plugin into the browser, or is that like...
It's a plugin to the browser. Yeah, I think I may even have it. I can show it to you.
So I guess what it's doing in the browser is it's recording your URL calls, right? Which the API calls.
Yeah, it kind of does things with your console. Basically, records the calls you make to it. So I'm actually let me just jump into this.
That's really
my browser.
interesting. That's really clever. Yeah.
So what I've done there is I've actually linked Ian's GitHub page for you.
Yes.
And by the way, I see GitHub now has got very lovely pages you can put on your homepage. Actually, this formatting is very nice.
Oh, there we go.
Do that. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a lot of fun, and things constantly change, which is awesome. So I just learned that GitHub changed, which is good to know, seeing as I'm doing a talk at the first GitHub Africa meetup next week. So I should probably go clean up my GitHub page. Yeah.
I'm taking that virtual, or is that in person?
It's virtual. I'm actually speaking about how to use Terraform with GitHub Actions to create your infrastructure.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So should be a lot of fun, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me actually find that link because I can share that with people on the stream that don't know about that event yet.
Yeah, I was looking at Kenny's comment. I couldn't imagine discovering code pipeline for the first time through CloudFormation.
It's really good.
Oh my word, man! Wow, lucky dude. Like seriously, that has got to be one of the that's a classic because if I think from some of the networking perspective, like just trying to set up a VPN through CloudFormation for the first time. Once you understand the variables, and that's a really cool thing also about the console is, as Isabel said, like it does take you through all the options. It shows you exactly what you can configure, how you can configure things, so your various algorithms, etc. You get those options to do that. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, trying to do one of those through CloudFormation for the first time, that would be interesting.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Let me quickly show you how this works. So I have this plugin installed here. You will see it being. Does this have audio by some means? I want to make sure that I'm not broadcasting audio from this. I'm not. It's fine. Okay. So You see that I have a plugin here called Recorder or something like that. And if
Oh,
I
yeah?
click Start Recording, it starts recording whatever I do. So if I go to, let's say, EC2, and I go to launch an EC2 instance, maybe, click that, launch instance. Let me select an AMI like so. T2 Nano, Frugal, all that is fine. Add storage. Let's do 30 gigs because why not? Tags, give it a name and call it record me, whatever. Security group. I may have a security group or somewhere. Let's create a new one for no reason. Launch.
You've got more than enough security groups there.
I have more than enough security groups. This account is 5 years old, so and I've did.
Oh wow!
Yeah, excellent. So it's done. Stop recording. Opens up this, and bam. Here's an example like Python thing that it creates for you. But again, it does a lot of things. Like it does a lot of describe calls, describe clients. So it's, you pick and choose what you need here from like Bodo approach. But if you want to do like CloudFormation, it's simple as that. It creates a security group, an EC2 instance. Yeah. So it does all these things for you.
Ooh, show me the Terraform. Show me the Terraform.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. Terraform, security group, AWS instance. Yeah. Basically all those things.
Jeepers.
So
this is very impressive.
It can do some like TypeScript as well for CDK.
Wow.
I think it's a bit dated. This is using like the old formatting, but it will work, right? It's perfectly fine. It will work. It will create a security group. But as you can see here, it creates a CloudFormation security group. It creates a CloudFormation type resource in CDK. So it's not the pure CDK. It uses CloudFormation resources within CDK, which is fine, right?
Maybe just explain the difference between the two quickly.
Okay, so yes, if you see in CDK, if you see CFN instance or CFN VPC or CFN security group or CFN whatever, that's a CloudFormation construct. A CloudFormation construct is just a way that you can describe actual CloudFormation resources through CDK. The differences here is the normal constructs or the service constructs coming from CDK are highly opinionated. They have sensible defaults. So if you create a VPC in a service construct on CDK, it will create the entire VPC, 4 subnets, private and public, the whole 9 yards. If you create a CloudFormation VPC in CDK, it will create just the VPC, nothing else. It just does it basically the same way as CloudFormation does, and it uses the same parameters as CloudFormation. So if somebody tells you that, CDK doesn't support all things CloudFormation does, it does. Yeah, so...
how do you find out the difference? Like, so when you say it's highly opinionated, how would you find out? Is there some way that we can find out, like, if I'm running CloudFormation, how would I know that when I create a VPC, it's going to create everything as opposed to just me creating the VPC? Is there some way that we have that shows you that?
Documentation. You can see if you look CDK VPC, right? It will show you the documentation, basically the construct of the VPC. What it does.
Cool.
It should show you some sensible defaults, right? Usually, if you not go there, but go to VPC itself, the construct. There are some like defaults set here. That's how it would do it, right? So it's sometimes not very clear what it does, but you have to read through the documentation to see what it actually does.
Yeah, sure. So it is in the documentation. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
But it's also modifiable. It's not set in stone. So for people who want to get started with infrastructure as code really quickly and don't want to learn things and just want to have things as code, Console Recorder or Former 2, which is also a plugin that can help you do those things as well. So these things could potentially help you in these things. I have not tried Former 2 too much, right? But basically, it can also help read your stuff from AWS. But again, not everything is supported. Don't expect everything to be super clean. Again, some API calls are just ridiculous. Like if I go to CLI, launching a CLI instance through a CLI is simple, but here you have all the calls made, including all the describe filters, all the things, right? See, it's weird because it takes everything I type and makes a describe call out of it. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's in the background.
Yeah, that's. I think it basically picks up the API calls made by your console because all the calls are made by, I think, the actual browser. So,
Okay. Okay, cool.
So that's how it goes. But yeah, there we go.
So yeah, sorry about putting you behind the banner again, Isa. You'll have to do this.
Oh, sorry, forgot. It's late.
Yes. Oh, no, awesome. So that was a fun segue quickly. Just quickly for the people that have joined us in the last few minutes, this is the AWS Africa office hours where we try to answer your technical questions, or not as technical questions if you also have AWS related questions for us. So please send the questions to us in the chat. Otherwise, you get to listen to us ramble on about other topics. And if it's just me and Darko, that'll almost always be CDK and infrastructure as code and automation. But since we have some other people on the stream again, let's ask Isa a fun question. Talk about something other than that Fallout poster, which we have to discuss in detail afterwards, because this is the first time your head has not been blocking it, and I have not seen it, so I want a lot more info because I'm a big fan. But that's for after the show. So what have you done that's fun other than the data lake?
Oh, is that for me? I thought you were asking Richard.
Yes.
No, that's for you. I'm hiding. I'm waiting. Like we're all waiting.
Oh, so I've been doing a lot of things related to introduction to the cloud and to AWS, as in people with no experience and no knowledge with cloud computing. It can be challenging to try to readapt your skills. And we do have a number of programs. For example, we have the AWS Restart program, which it's targeting more underrepresented minorities and people unemployed and maybe students. But it's basically, I think it is 12 weeks, if I remember correctly. And it's a full-time program where we provide the training, we provide all the content, and it hopefully with everything that we teach, hopefully the candidates that go through the program should be able to also pass the AWS Cloud Practitioner certification. So it's quite thorough, and it actually, because of also the audience that is targeted, it also provides at the end, I think, of the program, it is some guidance on how to prepare your resume and how to affront an interview, how to handle interviews, and how to give them a little bit of guidance also in that domain. So I think it's a very, very interesting program. I don't know if we have it in all countries. I know for sure we do it in the UK. I don't think, I don't think it's.
Do you know if any of the sessions are recorded? So if there's maybe like somewhere we can point people at. Okay, no.
Those specific to Restart are not. We do have some content that is very, very introductory, as in it's especially designed for people that has never touched AWS or cloud computing. So it covers like really foundational topics, and that's the Alejandra channel. I think it's called What the Cloud. I think it is. I don't know if you know it, but yes. But in that channel, she covers AWS and cloud computing from the very, very foundations. So explaining without assuming any previous knowledge. So that is great for people that it goes beyond. Maybe I use other cloud providers and now I'm new to AWS. Those are for people that has never done anything using cloud computing, which is still there is still of this type of environments out there. There is still a lot of environments that are using virtualization on premises and things like that, and are starting to explore and starting their journey to the cloud. And it's a journey, right? That's why it's a journey, because it requires effort. It requires adjusting not only your workloads but also your own the skills in house. But it's a great, exciting journey. At least it was. That's how I see it.
Yeah. So that's cool. I've actually I've worked with customers that have been heavily involved in the Restart program in the UK. They've actually one of my former customers that I was working with. They've hired, I think the last count was between 5 and 10 people out of the Restart program, which has been absolutely amazing for them, because cloud skills are. I'm sure it's the same. I'm sure it's the same in South Africa and across Africa. But I mean, even like everywhere, it's just really, really, really hard to get people with skill, with knowledge. Skilling them up, getting them into it. And the Restart program has been amazing for that. Focusing, helping people like get that introduction to it, and then getting, especially the biggest step is kind of getting introduction to the companies as well that are interested in bringing people into that program. So yeah, it's been really successful, really good. Yeah, nice.
I can actually share a link to a program. It's also a live stream that we fairly recently started. I'll paste it over here quickly. And it's for a series of sessions that we call Developers Let's Code, which is specifically focused on people getting started with AWS. And we look at things like, if I look at the past ones quickly, we just did a session this week on creating your first serverless application with CDK. Don't worry, Darko, you don't have to put money in the jar because I promoted you. The week before that was me doing something on Elastic Beanstalk. We've had security, cool. Lambdas and API gateway, etc. So it's definitely worthwhile to go check that out if you are getting into the cloud. And we just had a meeting this morning planning out some more sessions, and it's going to be fun.
Awesome.
Are you going to give us a hint on what's coming? What else is coming?
Let's have a look here. Next week, we are actually going to dive into how to set up the CLI, the AWS CLI, that is, and also specifically focus on how the credentials, what do you call it, the preference and the precedence of the credentials, because you can use environment variables. You can configure in the credentials file. Then there's the config file. You can also specify those files in different locations, and obviously there's a different precedence and how you can also do role switching to use one set of credentials between different accounts, profiles, all of that fun. Just how to play, because the thing that a lot of people don't always know is that by configuring the CLI, a whole bunch of third-party and open source tools just use that to interact with AWS. So they don't have the components that actually set that up. So if you've got it configured correctly and you do it correctly once, then it means that all of these other tools just magically work, which is super awesome.
And 2FA through CLI, which is like a big thing. Like people forget about that. They're like, oh, I use 2FA, I can't. Yeah, you can, man. Sure, totally. Like, we support it.
No, definitely. Yeah. So we've got that coming, and then we have got, so that's next week already. Then the week thereafter is most likely, and this is the part that we're still discussing, is actually we're going to take a brand new AWS account that is not provisioned through some of our internal tools. So we're going to sign up like we are a customer and walk through that process, as well as all the steps you should take when you open up a new account. For example, securing your root user, password policies, two-factor auth, setting up billing alerts, because a lot of people don't always know about that, and understanding where to go look for that and get all of those fun things going. So that in theory, but that's still a little bit up in the air. So but it'll likely happen on the 30th of September. And we actually have now scheduled it for both the APAC as well as EMEA time zones. So yeah,
cool, nice. I mean, also just thinking about like, talking about logging into the console for the first time, there's once you're in the console at the bottom, there's things like the quick starts, or like get started with AWS, like, set up a database in a couple of minutes, set up a WordPress site, use Elastic Beanstalk, host a static site. There's all of those examples and those demos. In fact, you don't even have to be logged into the console. I think you can see that without being logged into the console, some of those. The cool thing there is they actually give CloudFormation templates for some of the bigger like quick starts as well. So if you want to go then and see like, hey, so this went and set up a WordPress site for me automatically, and it shows like the architecture of what it's going to go and do. And then you actually want to see how you could potentially go and script that yourself. Like, it actually gives you that CloudFormation template. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I was going to look for the link on that, because is it Get Started? I think it's Get Started with AWS. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah. Let's see if we can pop that link for people. So I'm just quickly typing. I realized that I've not been making show notes. I've been trying to get better at this to tell people afterwards what the session was about. Another fun one that I'm just realizing now is the reason I look green is that I've got a massive lemon tree outside my window, and the sun is currently just filtering through that, so I'm slightly seasick.
The other one that is not super known maybe is the mobile app that I personally like a lot, especially because not only for our operations, but also now it has like the cost. You can have visibility on the cost, which I think it's super awesome to have always at hand.
Yeah, the mobile app's pretty cool.
Yeah, the mobile app. I think it's AWS Management Console for mobile. It's a super long name.
Yeah, actually,
I actually had a plan way back in want to say 2011 when I just started, because I've been using AWS for about a year at that point, and there was no mobile app. So I thought I was going to build this and make a lot of money off it. And then I realized that some people might pay for it, but not so sure. And just trying to keep up, nope, not a one-man job.
Yeah, 100% right, especially with all like the API calls and the new products and services. I mean, if I think about AWS over the last 4 years, so when I joined, we had probably in the region of 60 products and services. Now we have what, north of 220? It's definitely north of 200. I think it's probably north of 220 now, products and services. Probably even more so because that was kind of the beginning of the year, which is just like it's just crazy. Like from 60 to 200, and it's just exploded, man. So think about all those API calls you would have had to build into your app.
Yeah, but I mean, all of this is because of our customers. This is what they're asking.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah,
which is
just customer demand. It's been amazing. Yeah.
No, it's always that's one of the most fun parts about this job is like chatting to customers, trying to figure out what are the problems they're trying to solve, because that often comes up as like, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, 100%.
Indeed.
Yeah. So while we fill the awkward gap that's about to go, I'm not going to make a joke at this point in time. Don't worry. Darko, what have you been doing that's fun this week?
I have been building CDK. Of course, I'm sorry, but I did play around with CDK pipelines. CDK pipelines is the next big thing, and I am a fan. So just a quick, I'm not going to make a big tangent out of this, but CDK pipelines is a pattern that exists from CDK. It's basically a set of pre-built services and features to build I know pipelines. I have no content. I have no content yet about it. I've been playing it, but today at 6 o'clock I have a stream on this. So CDK pipelines basically is a pattern that creates, you guessed it, pipelines, but it does it so elegantly. It's able to mutate itself, and it can do cross-account deploys. So it's very straightforward.
That's cool.
So yeah, so it's you can do that. I mean, it does all of that with native AWS services, but doing it with CDK and the pipelines part is just so great. You can with 3 lines of code provision additional environments in different accounts in different regions. Doesn't matter, all from the same basically stack. So you have to do what. You have to do CDK deploy once, and everything else is just a git add. And I just add 3 lines of code, git add, and goes to a different account. So super great. It uses a lot of new features on CDK, which are not yet by default used. So I had to apply for these new features, and now my CDK is a bit broken, or it's not broken, but I have to change a lot of things on my CDK right now. So if you are interested in finding out what CDK pipelines are, join my stream today at 6 p.m. Central European time. So, which is basically
I thought we were doing it tomorrow.
No, well, we're doing it our own. We're migrating our own thing tomorrow. This is me just showing it to people, just explaining what CDK pipelines is. Because to be honest, there's a really nice blog post, but it's a bit complicated to get from the first go.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So we have a proper question, which is customer demands. Looking for special services about AI, ML, but can't find a single provider. Not sure where to ask for more info. Well, ask us here. What are you trying to do? We might be able to help you. So go ahead and ask. We, like I said, might have the answer. We might not have the answer.
But we do love these type of questions.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. So please send it our way.
Or if you prefer, if you don't want to share it here, you can also contact us via DM at any of our Twitter handles or emails. I think Cobus can share that.
Speaking of those, let me actually do those banners. I actually don't know.
What tool doesn't exist, or what AI service that is missing from AWS? Does anybody have experience with like what is missing? What could we have more? Because I'm not an AI person by any means. I'm not sure what are we missing out of the big ones. I mean, AI application services, right? So we have image recognition, audio, voice, transcriptions, and those things.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the comment.
Here we go with the first question.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Can Comprehend do this? Well, Comprehend will actually just get your get the sentence generic intents? I don't really know. I mean,
what about recognize? We have recognize.
But
No, but I'm thinking, so just quickly to
Comprehend will
clarify,
extract.
Vitzel.
Yeah, comprehend will analyze the syntax, extract sentiment, and do things like that. So I can see where you're going, but I'm not sure I understand exactly the use case here.
So
I think it's analyzing, doing natural language processing on it to extract the context and the intent of this different sentences without having to provide a large training set.
well, it's not even
Is
that.
that
For
correct?
example, if you work with the lady in the tube or Alexa, she uses intents, but you have to predefine intents. Say if I say, hey, turn on X, the intent is turn on, which I have to tell her to, that's my intent to do something here.
Right.
He wants something very generic, like, hey, something, if I say anything, it has to be able to understand that intent. So I'm not sure that we have a generic intent service. I'm not sure. Comprehend can understand the context of a sentence. What is it about? The sentiment, the maybe even people talking. But I don't think it can get the proper intent in that case. So I would lean on we have no such service, but yeah.
Does this not lean towards something like Amazon personalized? I guess the end goal would be interesting to know what the individual's after, because if it's trying to find an intent service to build a recommendation engine, then not recommend, but personalize, Amazon personalized might be something along those lines, because that uses basically it uses ML algorithms to create high quality recommendations that respond to specific needs, preferences, and changing behavior of your users in real time. I mean, that's just straight from the page. But I guess it would be interesting to know what the end goal is. If it's just trying to find the intent, that's interesting. Yeah.
It could be awesome if you can actually contact one of us. So we will put you in touch with our machine learning specialist and try to figure out if this is something that is achievable today. And if not, we certainly want to know more. So please to get in touch with us.
Yep.
That's a use case. Great.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Antia probably would be, or Julien would probably be very interested in having this conversation.
Cool. How do you get in contact? Easiest way, just out of interest, are you on ZA Tech Slack or on one of the AWS Slacks? Because Vitlol, I'm not sure if you're South African. I'm just taking a very broad stab in the dark here.
Or maybe you can put the Twitter handles.
Yes, I was
just to reach out directly. So at least we have a channel to communicate.
Yes,
I'm European. We can get in touch.
Yes.
No.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah.
We have machine learning specialists in our team who can more broadly answer this question. Unlike us, who are just shooting in the dark to see, is this it? Is this it or no? But yeah.
That's why I think it's worth having a proper conversation. I think this might be very interesting.
Can I get Isa and Richard? Can you pop your Twitter handles in the chat quickly for me, private chat? Then 100%. I'll put them on screen. Yeah. Cool. Let me just grab this.
I love that the three of us send it in a complete different format, just to make Kobu's life easier.
I know that. I have to work
the format I use is like the one that we usually use internally. So
it's fair enough.
And Darko just makes it difficult because he doesn't use his surname for Twitter, but it does for other things. Subotica.
It's my hometown. I made my Twitter handle 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whenever it was.
Subotica, where is that?
Subotica is it's pronounced Subotica. We pronounce the C as a sound. Yeah, Subotica is in the north of Serbia. So it's
cool.
Yeah, it's a small little town on the border with Hungary. So yeah.
Oh wow, man!
There
awesome.
And very proud of that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Nice.
Okay, and now I have all the details, and I can pop them here. Comments. Cool. Boom.
Oh, he wants to know which Slack workspace should he join? Because
sorry, I just that the ones I mentioned are a specific local well, one is South African, the other one is African. But I do believe, I don't think we've got some Slack workspaces that I know developers join. I actually don't know offhand what they are.
It's NUNSB, by the way, BY. NUNNSBY.
Copy
Oh,
that. Lee.
I don't know who NUNSB is. I'm going to go check that out. Cause
Let's see. Can I actually delete comments is the question.
there is no one. But it doesn't look like
Oh.
it. Sure. My goodness.
Oh, okay. So let me fix that then quickly. NUNSB.
Oh, it says account suspended. Okay.
Ooh, okay. There we
Maybe
go.
don't point them to a suspended account. There we go. Awesome. Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, we have got how much time left? I believe 10 seconds. And I don't have a joke prepared. No. So we are going to have to wrap it up, unfortunately.
Did you put the
and
Slack
say
channel just to make sure?
Just the Slack channel is not. It's not. Do you have the link close by?
Oh, yes. Let me just put it.
Cool.
Cool.
TikTok.
Sorry, just last minute.
No worries. Here we go. And I'm going to paste that in there. And while we do that, I can't type and talk. Sorry. There we go. Thanks everyone for joining us this week, and especially thanks to Isa and Richard.
Welcome.
I think
Anytime.
thank you, Darko.
Sure.
Thank you all. Yeah.
Joking.
Great.
No, but thanks. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. It's always fun having people and different people on the show. And yeah, Darko especially, thank you for just jumping in, because it seems we have CDK questions every single time. So I'm going to organize that you are on stand.
Yeah.
Yes, and I will make sure that you are on standby always.
Got it.
Awesome.
Cool. Awesome, everyone. We will see you next week, same time, same place if you want to join. And we will have some other people joining. I'm still working on who's going to join us. But yeah, hope to see you next week. Bye.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Cheers.
Bye bye.